Hi, welcome to Digital Learning. I'm Connie Kolosey, Director of Media, Text, and Digital Learning for Pinellas County Schools. In our episode today, I have with me my colleague Alex Heeren. Thank you, Alex. Alex recently went out and visited Mr. Struckhoff at Highland Lake Elementary School and his rambunctious group of third graders. Is it mixed grades or is it
mixed grades? Yeah.
Okay. So, and how did you end up hearing about Mr. Struckhoff and using Minecraft?
Well, we realized, we learned that Minecraft is going to be part of our Office purchase that we purchased from Microsoft. So once we heard about that, we put together a small group of teachers to go and learn how they could use it educationally. We wanted to make sure we got all kinds of teachers from all different grade levels, and Mr. Struckhoff was one of those. So after we did our Minecraft education training, we followed up with them just to see how implementation had been going.
All right. Well, so Minecraft is a video game.
That's right.
And I think we just right up front, people might be wondering why would we be talking about a video game on the digital learning. And so we actually asked Mr. Struckhoff that question, and we're going to let him tell us about it.
The premise of Minecraft really is interactive activities. You can sit and build something and create. And really that's the premise behind Minecraft, is to really create. How it relates to students in my class is they're able to, when you let them just create, they create things you never thought were possible. And they'll teach you a lot about what you don't know, and they'll surprise you with what they do know. So really what Minecraft is, it's an opportunity for students to create and express themselves, really. But it's not just, a lot of times, I'm a parent as well, and we say, well, video games, and my generation has challenges with video games sometimes, but I think when you really understand these guys are working together to create something, right? Our job as educators is the same as it's always been. I have to figure out where they are and help them bring that together within the confines of the game. And so that's really what Minecraft is. It's an opportunity to create and build things and work together. It can also be done solo, but for classroom use, it is an opportunity.
So Minecraft is a video game, but I heard him say create.
Yeah, Minecraft is kind of like a digital version of Legos. So you can, as an educator, create a creative process for your kids, and a lot of kids play this game forever. They'll often know more than the teachers will, which can be scary to some teachers, but when you first start and you let the kids have the opportunity to express themselves in a medium they're comfortable with rules, obviously, and procedures, they make amazing work. And it's just another way to engage in learning. It's kind of like educational games that we'll use all the time, but this is much more student-focused rather than teacher-focused.
So Mr. Struckhoff talks to us about how he's implementing it in his classroom. Let's hear from him.
There's a couple of really key things. If one outweighs the other, I'm not sure. But I will say the interest that it has garnered in terms of keeping them interested in classroom activities or an assignment, right? Like in the past, if I'd lay out, pen and paper, I'd have students that it just didn't work for. And it would take extra work on my part to motivate them.
That one's not breaking either. Good job.
Properly utilized, Minecraft has created an interest, and I have them following instructions more. And more importantly, to your question, I have them, the desire to be in the classroom and participating in the activity is there. But Minecraft has just been a small part of. Instead of the big picture, it's been one of the end games, right? And it's the preparation for the activity that has really benefited my class. I've had students that have never performed on pen and paper as much as they performed in order to work on the Minecraft piece.
So what are some of the tools within Minecraft? He's talking about using it to respond really just as the activity that follows up the teaching. Mm-hmm. And so how does that work within Minecraft?
Well, and so you're exactly right. You would not replace your entire curriculum with Minecraft. You're going to use it to engage with material that you've covered in class. So some of the tools in Minecraft allow students to write, obviously creating writing is an important part of the education process for a lot of different content areas. So in Minecraft, you can actually create visual content. You can take pictures and export a portfolio. There are different ways that students can express themselves and then turn that into the teacher so that the teacher can assess the student's progress. And it's almost like a trick. You know, the kids have been playing this for so long, they associate Minecraft with fun, but they're really showing they're learning.
And so Mr. Struckhoff has gone on here and is describing for us some of the tools he uses to engage the kids in learning.
And to keep them in line.
And to keep them in line. So let's hear from him again.
We use the slate most of the time. Well, what the slate is they can put it up, they can write on it, they can edit it right away. If they spell something wrong, and there's a couple different options, but I use the slate for that. Well, and then what I have them do, like if I have the unit vocabularies where we focus on it, and or for your lower level students, one of the things we're doing today is working on short vowels for those guys. The other ones are working on the Module D vocabulary. So how they all come together, because you want them actively doing things and learning, right, in the process. It's not just the build-up, it is the actual activity itself. So what the students do is they'll be given a list of words. One student can enter those, or I can enter them. It's a good opportunity for leadership in that way, but they're put into the game. Students will enter the game. They'll have to walk around, find the words. For example, today's lesson is they have to recognize short O words. Then they have to take a picture of that word, put it into their portfolio. The portfolio is just it's a book. And then they have to retype the word, which is great for my non-spellers because they see the word hoot, which is, you know, a double vowel word, and then they have to type it. So they're like hoot or moon. So not only they're seeing it, they're typing it. And then in other lessons, subsequent lessons, they can actually be putting the definitions in. For the other students who have the actual vocabulary, they have to walk around and find the word, find the definition, and then write a sentence. In today's lesson, I've already put sentences out for them to find, but they have to put all of these in their portfolios. And at the end, I can take their portfolios and grade them. So it creates a number of different things we can do. After this activity, we'll be able to tell how much they got from the lessons. The real cool part of having them go through all those different steps within the game is afterwards talking with them, and they're doing things with vocabulary that they hadn't really been as in tune with in the past. One of my students on the first Minecraft exercise we did, on the vocabulary quiz, there was 26 words. He scored a 24 of 26. He's never scored that high. So it's the different activities, but that's it. We also have pen and quill, so students can write character traits. They can describe and create characters, and they can write the character traits and create something in their head that represents that character trait. So we can limit it, we can build it. There's many different ways to create with the different tools that are available in Minecraft.
And this is all within the game?
All within the game, and all very simple to use. Very simple. Students showed me everything, but it took really one time through to go, I know how to do that. I know what we need to do.
I wonder, it seems one of the hesitancies a lot of teachers have with digital resources is that they put them on a task, but the kids wander off and get into some other things. Is that a danger here in Minecraft?
So Microsoft's thought about that. When Minecraft first started, it was just a game, and Microsoft's brought it into education with teacher tools. So teachers can teleport students, they can monitor students, they can move them around, they can remove things from their inventory, they can block kids from even being in the game. Teachers really do have control over the entirety of the game if the teacher chooses to use those tools. Now, initially when you're first starting, maybe you don't know as much as your kids do. And so one of the first ways to implement this is actually not necessarily class-wide, but to give students options if they're doing a project. Give them the option to use Minecraft as the project and turn in their Minecraft world. Then when you get a lot of students collaborating, sometimes they can drive each other off task, but if a single student's working on a project on their own, it requires a lot less from the teacher in terms of management and learning how the tool works. And it gives those kids who otherwise wouldn't do whatever the project is, a creative outlet that really engages them.
So again, we did ask Mr. Struckhoff about this, and he does have a very active group that he works with. Yeah. And so he talked to us about some of the ways he manages the class within Minecraft.
Yeah.
We have what's called the barrier blocks, which can keep them in a specific area. And as a teacher, I can control whether they come in or go out. Very simple to do. I can also control what they have in the game. If they're if I want to make sure they just have a camera and a pen and a quill and a portfolio, I can set the game up with 1 or 2 clicks. It makes sure that's all they have. There's blocks that are called allow blocks. So if I want to let them destroy a wall so they can find a sentence or an equation, or they're working on division and they've got to work with quotients, I can make it so and I can put a sign that says, destroy this wall, it's okay. Because the truth of it is, they like to bang things up. So I give them a little bit of freedom to still do that. But then when they get to the sign, there's what we call a deny block, which they cannot destroy any of that. I can totally control everything that's in the game. And most importantly, though, once my students understand what's expected, I can have one of my group leaders build a world. He does it a lot quicker than I do. But we can speak on the same level. I can say, here's what I want. Oh, and then they lay down those barrier blocks, and they lay down those deny blocks, and they set up the activity so that it controls. That has a reverse effect. So when that student's doing one of the exercises I put together for him, he understands that I want him to stay on task. And it does work. It also, again, Minecraft's not the end-all, be-all. Technology used appropriately can aid and be a tool. Today's just, the activities we're doing today are just small parts of what we've done to get here. Most important was I have 100% participation in all of the assessments. I have 100% participation in the activity, and they're doing a much better job of following rules because it's what they want. They want to be in my classroom, they want to be doing the activities versus, in times before, trying to get students to do things is always a challenge. And at the end of the day, they're doing more in many ways than they've done prior.
Well, we're all about student engagement, right?
That's
and
right.
100% participation. We like to hear that.
The kids want to use it. It's where the kids are.
Yeah. So, back in my day, just the concept of building a student-centered classroom and having the students help you develop the rules is considered to be a best practice because you get buy-in when takes it to a whole new level of helping develop the rules.
Yeah, well, the kids are developing. You can use those kids. You're going to have 1 or 2 kids in your class that have been playing Minecraft forever, that know everything about Minecraft. And you may have kids that don't know so much, but you can use the kids who are way into it to build your content for you. And in that process, they don't realize it, but the best way to learn and how to do something is to teach somebody else. Mm-hmm. And so they're actually strengthening their own skills.
All right. So in this next clip, Mr. Struckhoff goes a little bit more into the process of learning and helping the kids begin to think about their thinking, metacognition. And so let's see what he has to say about it.
So when I first started, I deferred to my own child because I was a little nervous about all of this stuff and the commands and everything else. But he had questions for me if he's going to build. So I had to sit, and together I learned a little bit from him. I only spent a few hours with him. And even though I went to a training, I forgot everything I was trained on. When I started working and interacting with my own child, and then I got to the classroom, I pulled one of the other students up, and I said, here's what I want to do, and we did it together. The cool part was the process itself helped me build that relationship with my students. But I also found out, I think I've always been a little nervous around the coding part and the commands, but they're not that challenging. And the immutable world. My students and I learned that one together, and that simply means they can't break or do anything to destroy any world. And all they can do is the education piece. We joke about the immutable world. I'd say, in all honesty, I've had 6 hours of intensive hands-on training with my children. And I mean the children in the class and my own student. And that's been the training process. Doing it that way was a lot easier than sitting in a classroom learning how to play. They taught me how it works, but more importantly, we could bounce off each other. Because I could say to my student, hey, student A, show me this. Or I want to do this. And they're like, oh, I know. And together we're working together to figure something out. So you have that interaction, and also the student has an idea of what I'm trying to accomplish. So it hasn't been as scary as I thought it was.
Well, I can imagine there'd be a lot of people out there, maybe gamers, but a lot of people that might be concerned about how long it would take to jump into something like this.
Yeah, so the way I think of it is it's kind of like a three-step process. So the first step would be giving it as an option to the kids who want to use it, who already know how to use it, to turn it in. And then you as the instructor would just kind of look at what they've built in Minecraft. So you don't have to know that much to do that. Then the second stage would be using some pre-built resources. Online, Microsoft Education Edition have worlds that you can download in chemistry and social studies and all kinds of subject areas. Then you can just use without having to make it yourself. And the last step, I think, is building custom projects and custom worlds that you can then bring your kids into that you've created once you feel like you've mastered some of this. But like you said, you don't kind of do this all at once. You learn by playing.
And then he shares about some of the resources that he took advantage of as well. So
there's amazing amounts of resources. First of all, there's a plethora of training videos available. But more importantly, you can go on, there's already preset worlds that you can go on. The chemistry ones are wonderful. And you can even watch some of the YouTube ones on chemistry. You'll have teachers showing you what they do. But more importantly, you can go right into the Minecraft resources and look in there and download those worlds. Or you can also download what's called biomes, right? Or different, like if you're doing science and you want to do different rocks and you're going to do a piece on geology, those are pre-made. You can go in there with just a few settings, set things up so that nothing can be destroyed or that certain things can be destroyed, but you can have different rocks, different places, there's a ton of them. You can do rainforest, you can do deserts, on and on and on. There's just an amazing amount of resources available. Again, so it's kind of like, what framework do I want to have? You can go in that framework and create within, or you can go to a preset lesson and go from there. And more importantly, I mean, my approach has been going to where I want to go, and then I have a student look at it and say, I want you to think with how we're going to do this. And you get that student thinking with it, and they're going to help you understand how you can teach the class. And again, it gets back to that metacognitive piece. They're thinking about how to think about the subject and about how to teach it. And that's been, for me, a breakthrough, because I think as a fairly new teacher, getting students, especially your low students, to think about thinking can be challenging. This has really helped me understand a great way to show that. Because if I got to get a student to teach another student about condensation, I can say to him, look, I can download a world, I can download just a biome, or I can say create from scratch, but I need you to show me what condensation is. And if he comes back and shows me and it's wrong, I can say, well, here's what I need you to understand, or here's the words we're going to clear up, get those definitions down right, maybe I found out what he missed, and then I can say to him, you got to teach this to other students. And that's what a concept is. And now you see them go, oh, because they built it first for themselves, and now they have to build it with others in mind. And that's where you start making a difference.
We tend to think about coding and this kind of thing in terms of math and science. Would you say Minecraft is limited to that content?
Well, not at all. This is why we actually sought out teachers from all different content areas to see how they can integrate this in their classrooms. What we found is that when students take ownership of the worlds they make, when you have an assignment where the students are building, they tend to do more work. So you could have them build the globe theater and then use the writing tools within Minecraft to write about the historical significance of that, or to go back to science, they have an entire chemistry lab where you can take all of the elements and combine them and do different things with that within the world. You could look at have them build historical context, or have them build, there was one example you can download off of their website where you actually go inside of an eyeball. They've built a whole eye, and you can go see the parts of the eye that are all labeled. You can have kids create things and then label the parts. So there's just a lot to that. You can tell stories with it. There's a lot, and it's anytime you think that you might be a little limited in what you actually can do, let the kids try. because you'll be shocked at the ways that they can come up with content relevant things if you give them a chance.
Well, which reminds me, the proof is in the pudding,
Yeah.
right? And so let's hear from one of the kids.
At school, you have all your friends and you have up to 30 people and not 7 people. And what's exciting about the school version is that there's more stuff to do. You can learn. There is a lot of things to do. You and your friends, or your brother or sister, if they're even in the class, can actually learn from your teacher. And the cool thing is that you can make worlds for your friends to learn in, or your friends can make worlds for your other friends and you to learn in that world too. When you're not doing Minecraft, it's kind of like tough and stuff because sometimes you don't know what to do. While in Minecraft, there could be signs where it tells you what to do. And like your teacher could tell you to do it, but if you forget, there's always a sign somewhere in the world, or not, but placing the sign and typing what you have to do. Especially you can lay out rules, so that is also great. And plus the cool thing about that is that your teacher can join, and it's free to play, and it's just amazing.
So that young man is a 3rd grader.
Well, and you can see how his eyes light up, right, when he starts talking about going from doing the same content lesson outside of Minecraft to using Minecraft to learn that. I mean, it gets him excited. He's excited to learn stuff. It's a cool thing to see.
I like that he was talking about the game itself is giving him feedback as he goes. So he might have, it's one thing for the teacher to tell him something, and now he's got it. We did not get the clip of him talking about coding, but where does coding fit into this?
So you can use Minecraft Education Edition. It creates a little agent that you can then program to move around and do things. In fact, you can actually use some of the materials in Minecraft to create entire computers. You can look on YouTube if you're interested to see some of the crazy things people have made. Literally using transistors, it functions as a transistor to build an entire calculator. Your kids might not spend that much time doing something like that, but it's just, the possibilities are limitless.
So if we have a teacher interested, just real quick, what's the next step?
You can send an email to the digital learning team. It's probably the best way we can come out and help you get it installed on your students' computers, show you the process of getting going with it, and we'll support you every step of the way. My email is Heeren, Heeren, at pcsb.org, because I go by my middle name, so
All right.
just confuse people.
Well, thanks for sharing this with us. Thanks for making the connection with Mr. Struckhoff and his fine class, and we'll look forward to hearing more from him as he progresses with this. Thank you for joining us today, and once again, if you're interested in learning more about Minecraft, contact the Digital Learning Department, and we will help you get started. Join us next time.